Do you feel guilt? No.
Everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you guys so much for coming back to my channel. It is Thursday, December 2nd, 2021. I had to come here, guys, and make this video. We were able to see the first interview of Alec Baldwin after the whole incident happened, where a gun that he was holding, shot halynahutchins, the director of cinematography, and killed her during a movie. I guess they were just filming the movie over there in New Mexico. I believe it was New Mexico, but anyways, so he did the interview on ABC with the reporter George, and let me just tell you something. He said a lot of stuff that, to be an open investigation, I am very surprised that this was allowed. I understand the need to come out and give your side because, you want to, I think I know now the reason why he, expedited this interview. He was definitely blame shifting. That is just my honest opinion, guy. I had never seen someone who is suspected, who believes, or people are making it seem to believe that he was the one who shot her and she ended up losing her life, and this guy is just completely blame shifting. And he was very emotional. He said a lot of things, but I always say at the end of the day, you are responsible for your actions, whether you make a mistake, it was an accident. Regardless of that, you're still gonna, face you have to face the consequences. We're all humans, we're not perfect, so we do make mistakes, and that's just all part of life. I think that after watching this whole interview, I couldn't let this day go by. There's so many things that were off on that interview. First of all, he's giving extremely details about what happened, and this is an open investigation. He's talking about who perhaps is responsible. He's basically washing his hands, saying that he kept going back and forth. It was Hannah Reed, the armorer. He kept saying the armorer should have checked. The armorer should have checked. And then they played the clip where George Clooney said before he uses a gun in the film, a prop gun, he opens it up, shows it to the person he's pointed it at to. He shows to everybody on set, just to be careful, because at the end of the day, the person who will be holding that gun, whether it's a fake gun or whatever, is you. So you will be responsible for that. You can't just say, it wasn't, it was just the person who gave it to me. It was her who gave it to me, not me, actually. That just sounds so, to be honest, that sounds so immature. It's almost like we're talking about the way he was talking today, besides the getting emotional and things like that. I feel like he thought that he was going to act like this is his first movie. Even though he said it wasn't, obviously we know that it's not. But how irresponsible of Mr. Alec Baldwin to come out and say, I've done this many times. The armorer should have checked. They gave it to me. It was safe. I thought it was safe. He actually said, me and Helena, we have one thing in common. We never thought that there were live bullets on that gun. And the other thing that he said is, there's so many things, guys. The other thing that he said, that he didn't think it was a gun. It was a gunshot that got her on the floor. He thought that she actually passed out. And then he contradicted himself. This is why you have to be careful, man. When you give interviews like that, there's an open investigation right now. He talks about when the whole thing happened. She's laying on the ground, conscious, you know, and he said he had no idea that it was a gun inside of there. But then he says, Joel DeSouza, I believe his name is, I think he's another producer. He was just screaming because he also got hit with the same bullet. So how can you? I mean, that's the biggest nightmare. You know, you're holding something that's, when you're holding it, it's gonna create this effect that's gonna get somebody knocked down on the floor. The other one that was perhaps near her or behind her is screaming because he's in pain, and you're gonna say, I didn't even know there was a gun. I didn't even know it was a bullet that hit them. I would have been, I would have been running. What's going on? What happened? What's wrong with this gun? And then he said they were immediately told to leave. He said he was just looking at her for maybe 60 seconds, and then they were told to leave the set. And they were filming in that church that I told you guys. That church looks extremely familiar to me. I made a video about that, And because I do believe everything comes out at some point, perhaps, they might want to hide it, but everything comes out eventually. So he's back and forth saying, I knew it was a bullet when in the sheriff's office, in the police office, whatever, they brought it to me. He said, this is what we got out of Joel DeSouza's shoulder. That's when he knew? All the way when he was already interrogated and everything, that's when he knew that they have to actually brought it to him and show him? Like, that's crazy. I mean, it was a small set, and I don't know how many people work in the whole movie production set, whatever, but one thing I know is when you're shooting a movie, there's a lot of silence, okay? Because you are recording, right? You're shooting a movie, so you are the one holding this gun, and the impact from it is getting somebody on the ground who is conscious, but something's going on with her, and then the person that was near her screaming in pain, and you're gonna say to us, the public, that you didn't know that there was a live bullet, and that you didn't know that that she was her, like she was her like that, into like they show you the gun that came out of the shoulder. Like, I don't understand who he thinks we are, that we're gonna buy that. I am so sorry. The thing is, like, if he would have come out and be honest, because anybody, you're gonna be doing a job in a movie set, and you're going to have this effect about, you're holding the gun, and this gun is going to create this effect that is going to impact two people. One of them is screaming in pain, and you're going to come out on TV and say, I didn't even know it was a gun. It was a live round until they show it to me. Like, did you run over and say, what happened? What was in this gun? Like, I'm sure it was very quiet there before they were shooting. And then the only thing that I didn't see right with me is the fact that, I think the interviewer, he asked him very good questions, but, he said at one point, Alec Baldwin said that I did what she wanted me to do. And he said that a couple times during that interview. And let me just tell you something, guys. This is gonna sound so strange to everybody out there, but I don't know, it's gonna sound very strange, but when he kept saying in that interview many times, I was doing what I was told. They're like, well, why are you pointing and going at anybody? And he kept saying, I was doing what I was told. She was telling him how to do it, and do it this way, and do it the other. This is what I got from it. He said he never met her before until the day he went there to start filming. They went out to eat, whatever. They went out for dinner. And you have Alec Baldwin with his reputation. I don't know how he is in a work setting. I don't think that has come up, but we have seen him in very bad ways when it comes to being approached by paparazzi, even though he's a public person and whatever. He seems to me, this is what I'm getting from what I've seen, not knowing his work for many years, he seems to me like he's not that type of person who's just gonna, who it's almost like in front of him and halynahutchins, the two of them, I think Alec Baldwin has the most career obtained status. She's behind the scenes, but she's not Alec Baldwin, right? So here comes this cinematographer who is the first time working together with him, and the way he said, this is my point, the way he kept saying, I did what she told me to do, I was doing what she told me to do, why are you pointing at, I did what she told me to do? I don't know what's going on there. It didn't sit right to me. It's almost like what I got from it was he was being, it's almost like he's coming to this set, and he's Alec Baldwin, and he's not the type of, yeah, do, whatever, I'll just go along with whatever. But when you, not everybody who has a big reputation of a career standard like he has, because pride is very dangerous, it's gonna just be okay when somebody who perhaps is not in that status is gonna be do this, do the other, do this, do that, do the other. And I understand that when you're shooting a movie, you have to follow what the director said, and and they want you to do it a couple times more and over and try this, try the other. But the fact that he said that, and he's not saying, it was a terrible accident. I didn't get that type of regret on him. He can say all he wants about that being one of the hardest things ever, but when you're sitting down in an interview and you're being asked if you have guilt from it, from what happened, even if it was an accident in your eyes, you have to understand that something that you were holding created an effect on a set, whether or not it's your fault, that somebody that it's whoever's fault it is, something that you were holding. Somebody can come out after the investigation and say, oh, we have camera footage of the person who put the live rounds on that gun that Alec Baldwin used. They can come out and say that. Regardless of that, you need to understand that there has to be some type of regret and guilt coming from this person, because at the end of the day, the thing that he was holding and he pointed at her made her lose her life. And I don't know how you are okay with that, and saying on national television, which is going to be, obviously everybody's waiting for his response on this, it's going to be shown worldwide, you're going to say you have no guilt from it. You know what I mean? I don't understand that. And the other thing too, I just thought about this, right? The whole idea that I was saying before about him saying, I did what she wanted, I was doing what she told me to do, she told me to do this, and he kept saying a couple times, I don't know how halynahutchins were. We have to understand somebody who died already, and he's, and how she died is very concerning right now because there's an open investigation, right? And everybody's basically washing their hands. And he's saying, I just did what she told me to. I'm sorry, I don't care if, I don't care. We see how Alec Baldwin is. There is that footage, I hope I can put it here, where he's being sicked out by the paparazzis right when it happened, because I know it happened around October 20th this year, and then they found him and his family in Vermont, because that's where he came to, to basically get away from everything that was happening. He was found. And they ask him questions on the street, right on the road, and then his wife is there, and the wife is trying to jump in on top, and answer to the paparazzi, not letting him. And the way he reacts to his wife, that is his wife, the mother of his children, and the way that there was I think it was a phone call that was recorded of him talking to his daughter. And I understand everybody has their personality and some people are more difficult than others, but Mr. Alec Baldwin wants us to believe that he was just there, following orders, that by that, just how they wanted to, by somebody who doesn't have the same trajectory as him. Like, to be honest, looking at it from the outside, let's say none of this would have happened. This movie or series or whatever it was, the biggest star, I guess you can say, let's assume none of this happened, would have been Alec Baldwin. So right there, I don't think there was anybody who has that status. So I feel like there's something else here that they're not gonna come out and say, right? He's not just gonna go there. I mean, we see him talking to his wife, and that's in public. Imagine how it is in private. I don't think he's just gonna be like, okay, I'll do whatever you want me to do. And let me just tell you something. Some people, when they're being, I just thought when people are being micromanaged, not everybody can take that. Not everybody can take that. And saying that, having said that, another thing that brought, I was like, what is he saying? He's like, Hannah, we all know who Hannah Gutierrez Reed is. He's like, Hannah should have checked, the armorer should have been responsible. Then he's like, not that I'm trying to accuse anybody, I don't want anybody to, go through horrible things because of this. Let me just tell you something, guys. I know some people are not going to agree with what I say, but I'm just giving my opinion here in my channel. When you know you're guilty of doing something, right? And you see innocent people who their life could be changed right now at any moment because of they're being accused of something that they're innocent of, but you're the guilty one. You basically, not everybody will do, but if you have the opportunity, you'll be like, it wasn't really them. I don't think it was anybody's fault. It wasn't really them. It's almost like you feel bad about it. But this whole thing with him that I think he might have forgotten is that he's also a producer on the movie. So every lawsuit that comes out of this, they already have two. He was saying, like, it's gonna link back to him. I didn't think he was thinking about that. Let me just tell you something, guys. Alec Baldwin is not a passive person. We don't need more paparazzi footage of that. There are a lot of celebrities who are chased down by paparazzis all over, every time, 24/7, and not all of them react to that like Alec Baldwin. He's not a passive person. He's not a shy person, not a quiet person. So when people react like that, out of anger, and they, there is this thing, when people have no control over their emotions, that's a very dangerous place to be, guys, because your emotions change very fast. So that's why you can't react on anger. And I'm sorry, but this interview that he did, I think he's digging a hole even bigger for himself. Why is he even talking? This is an open investigation. He mentioned at one point, he's like, I just want to live my life, or things like that. He didn't sound he can say he has regret, but the main emphasis of this whole interview, that's not the main message that we got from this. It's not the main message. There's a lot of watching of hands. It wasn't me. They should have checked. I'm sorry. You knew that they were having safety concerns. Some people were complaining. You knew that he said that he was asked that some people in the crew wanted better hotel rooms. You knew that people complain about safety issues, and you, Mr. Alec Baldwin, with all this experience that you have on movie sets, you're gonna just grab a gun and believe that it's clean, and you're just gonna continue, and we're just gonna believe, that's just the norm. This is so weird. And I'm laughing because if you don't search for the truth, man, you'll never find it. I think there's more to this story that they're not saying, and they can interview him all he wants, but Mr. Alec Baldwin that we see on the streets being chased by paparazzi, and how furious he gets, and the way he was talking to his wife when she interrupted him from replying to the paparazzi. Like, we're gonna believe Mr. Alec Baldwin just went to that set and was lovey and so obedient to a woman telling him exactly what to do and how to do it, and do it this day and do it again and things like that? I think there's something else here that he's not. It's only time will tell. So anyways, guys, let me know what you guys think on the comments. Have a good night, everybody. God bless.
Right there on the surface, you felt shock, you felt anger, you felt sadness. Do you feel guilt? No. I feel that there is. I feel that someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't see who that is, but I know it's not me. I mean, I honest to God, if I felt that I was responsible, I might have killed myself if I thought I was responsible. I don't say that lightly.
Thank you so much for watching my channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. I hope to see you in the next video.